All right, thanks for joining us for another bonus episode on building a house start to finish. As you can see, I'm on a little holiday at the lake with my family, and it's actually like 7 in the morning. They're still asleep, but I wanted to make a little extra video again to give you extra info if you're following along the series of building a house start to finish. So here we go. Okay, so the first question I'm sure a lot of people are going to have is how long did it actually take you to frame this in real life? Because we're way ahead in real life of the series, of course. And the answer is it took us about 5 full work days with our crew of an average of 4 guys each day. So it actually took us about 2 weeks though, because it rained like every day we were out there. And some days it rained all day. So weather plays a huge part in the speed that you can frame something. We have worked in the rain on tasks where you're not going to ruin tools, okay? The main problem with rain is you're using electricity on your power tools. Your battery tools use electricity, obviously, from a battery. And all your other tools that are made of steel are going to rust and get ruined. So there's also a safety factor. If you're up on scaffolding or on ladders and it's raining and things are slippery and wet, that's an added danger factor. So generally speaking, we only work when it's sort of dry, but sometimes we'll finish a task that we've started in the rain just because we need to get it done. Okay, here's something interesting that some of you may have noticed. The roof system on our house is a little taller than it was on the drawings that are shown in the videos. And that's true, you're correct. In the drawings, I actually used LVL rafters in my program for the roof system, not engineered trusses. And there's a couple reasons we changed from the LVL rafters to the engineered trusses. The main reason though is that we needed a space to run the ductwork. Originally we thought about running like commercial hard ductwork like you'd see in a commercial building that's exposed below the ceiling, but that turned out to be more expensive and it looked a little more cluttered when we looked at the renderings. So we decided to use those engineered trusses that have a space allowing ductwork to pass through above the finished ceiling and look a little cleaner and cost a little less money. All right, so here's a question I'm sure someone's gonna ask, so I'm gonna answer it before you even ask it. Why don't we use the zip system for the sheeting on the roof? A fish just jumped right there. Well, the main reason is the cost, okay? I really like the zip system, and we use it on steeper roofs all the time because it saves us a lot of labor, not having to do the underlayment as a separate thing. Going up a steep roof saves a lot of time. So in this case though, if you look up the cost of what the zip sheeting costs, in this area for a 5/8, it's about $40 a sheet. And the 5/8 OSB that we use was about $18 a sheet. So the cost of it is the main reason. And in some cases, it saves enough labor to make up the cost and actually probably be cheaper. But in this case, with a shallow pitch roof, a 312, it's easy to walk on. We don't have any trouble there. It doesn't really save us money, probably actually costs more money. Okay, one thing I briefly touched on in the video is that we're gonna do a metal roof. We're gonna do a ribbed metal roof, not a standing seam. And in our area, that passes code just fine. In some areas where it's colder, you have to use standing seam type, and that's about 2 or 3 times more expensive. So I mentioned we're gonna fur out the roof with yellow pine strips. And what we're gonna do is actually just screw down or nail down yellow pine furring strips, 3/4 inch thick, to the rafters on like a 16-inch spacing. And what that does is give the roofing screws a better surface to bite into, and it actually will hold the shank of the screw a lot better because yellow pine is a lot more dense than say OSB. The problem is that I've seen some screws that are just screwed into OSB and not into yellow pine actually back out over time. And this is because the metal expands and contracts with heat, and it actually works the screw like this. If it's not into a hard material like yellow pine, the shank of the screw doesn't have enough friction to resist unscrewing and eventually just popping out completely in some cases. So that's why we're doing that, and that's why we didn't put the drip edge on yet. The drip edge will actually go on top of the furring strips as the roofer does the rest of the roof. All right, here's something interesting that might have been confusing in the video. In one clip, Steve, our heat and airman, is talking about the solar heat gain that you'll get through all the glass on the front side of this house with the southern exposure. And then in another clip, I'm talking about how the big overhangs will actually shade all those windows. And what happens is in the summer, when the sun is more directly overhead due to the angle of the earth, you'll get shading on those windows. But in the winter, when the sun is at a shallower angle all day long, those overhangs won't affect the sunlight, and the sunlight will actually just come in through the windows. So in the summer, you'll get shading on those windows, and in the winter, you'll get the passive solar heating through those windows. So it really works out nicely that all year round, the windows will do what you want them to do because of a large overhang and southern exposure and big windows. And that's a really good way to build a house if you want to save energy so that you can get natural heating just by the sun. It'll heat your house automatically. So you have seen a few of our projects, and here's something cool. I wanted to throw up a few video clips of some other projects we did and we designed that were sort of an inspiration and led up to the design of this home, which is that modern single pitch style, which I hadn't done a whole lot of these homes until just very recently when we realized it actually is a very good fit and design for this area because of the huge wall of windows you can get. Hey, I do want to mention that today is Sunday, if you're watching this video on the day it was released, and tomorrow is Monday, the day Jamie's going to have surgery on his finger again, so do keep him in your prayers if you don't mind. It's not supposed to be anything major, but they do have to grind the bone of his finger, so it's not minor, and he's going to be out for a few days or weeks, but just keep him in your thoughts if you don't mind. We're all hoping it goes really well and that it really improves the usability of his finger when it's all healed up. Hey, thanks for joining me today again for this extra bonus video. I really enjoyed this time sitting here by the lake and drinking my coffee and making a video, and I'm gonna go try to learn how to wake surf today. So hopefully I will survive that endeavor, and maybe I'll put a few pictures of that up if it goes badly. It would be more entertaining for you. But thanks again, remember to subscribe and keep checking our videos.